Okay, hello and happy October. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. It is 4:10 p.m. It is Thursday, October 19th. Okay. Going to go ahead and do roll call. I'm Andrea LaFleur and I am present. Talia Henry.
Present.
Joshua Stegner, absent. Tori Burnett, absent. Sarah Hayworth.
Present.
Dina Cusis, sorry.
It's okay.
Present. Amber Solar, oh gosh, I can't say your name.
Solorzano, present.
Solorzano, thank you. Angela Helton.
Present.
Leanna McKnight is not here. Olivia Duran.
Present.
Truth.
I'm here.
Craig.
Present.
Awesome. Thank you so much. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. At this time, we would like to swear in Angela Helton onto the board. Angela, if you could please stand for your oath of office. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. Oh, you don't have to repeat after me, I'm sorry. Do you solemnly swear to faithfully exercise the duties of a member of the Gorman Learning Charter Network Board of Directors in a way that represents all stakeholders without prejudice and in accordance with the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California?
I do.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the board. Okay. Item 6, the approval of the agenda. Could I get a motion for that, please?
I motion to approve. I second.
All in favor? Okay, motion passed. Number 7, if I get an approval of the minutes with the update of the 2 changes of the approval of the minutes for September and the changing of Amber from Finance Committee to Angela, if she's open to that.
I motion to approve. I second.
Thank you. Motion passed. Now we'll move to the communication
Madam
from.
President?
Yes,
can you
sir.
Can you call for a vote on that motion?
Absolutely,
Thank you.
sir. All in favor of the approval of the minutes with the update, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion approved. Next is communication from the public. Do we have anybody that would like to speak?
I have one parent in Rutland's. Can you hear me?
Yes. Get 1 moment, please. Denise, if you could call who's up for Redlands, please.
Melissa.
Yes,
Will you go ahead and let the Redlands person speak?
not a problem.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. I want to thank you again for all your hard work you put forth in our children's education. The last board meeting, I addressed some items and I would still like to touch on a few things. First, there are obviously still staffing issues that are ongoing. While I see on the personnel report that you're obviously trying to hire additional people, the lack of teaching in some of the core classes here at RRC has affected the students' learning, and I would plead with you that your efforts in this area need to be doubled. Second, I'm aware that there seem to be funding issues in some of the school programs. I've been told that funding for music ensemble has been cut somewhat, and we don't have a place for them to perform for the fall or winter performance, depending on when it's being held, and that it will more than likely be held on campus. While I appreciate that there's always a need for funds on any school event, there are only two main events that Drumline, Music Ensemble, and Art have the opportunity to perform in, and that is usually in winter and spring. The fact that we can't find funding for these two events if I'm not mistaken, about 300 people attend, it's not doing our kids justice. I'm personally trying to help with donating equipment for Music Ensemble because of the need to upgrade equipment for that class, especially if they're not going to be performing at a venue with stage and sound equipment. Has Gorman ever tried to get corporate sponsorships or donations to help offset some of these expenses? Have surveys ever gone out on Parent Square to ask for input from parents and or students on what they would like to see the school invest in? Can I ask why there is no communication for parent volunteers or parent donations when we're trying to hold such events? Most parents would like to see their kids shine and are usually willing to help in even small ways to make even a minor difference if we could. I really feel the school is lacking in communication to families. You have the tools to communicate, but they are not being utilized to their fullest potential. Again, I really appreciate all the efforts of the staff that we do have, but the importance of being fully staffed cannot be overstated. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Olivia, have the rules? Okay.
Hi, my name is Phoebe. As you can see, yesterday was a very heartbreaking day for us. Jose had been there through everything and has done so much for us, and he wasn't even obligated to do so. Jose is not the only one. I'd like to say a special thank you to both the Canelos and Mr. Tapadino as well. With that being said, we have noticed how our facilitators have been mistreated. Yesterday was definitely an eye-opener and brought both ASBs together to come here today to discuss the things that have been bothering us as students. Our main concern is a lack of equality and feeling as if we are not being heard. Here are a few examples as why we feel like this. We have been struggling financially as ASB. We have not gotten our funding card, and Jose took the role and provided us with things that we needed out of his pocket. Ms. Jem had originally told us that we would be getting our card within 2 weeks in September, yet somehow we get our card the day Jose decides to leave. Another thing that caught us off guard is that to be accepted into ASB, we had to do an interview and also have our GPA looked over. Yet Ms. Jem's daughter was put unannounced without having to go through any of the requirements. With that being said, we feel that it's not a good example of equality among the students, and yet it is favoritism. We also wanted to talk about filling the spot for the ASB facilitator. All of ASB has agreed that even though Jose cannot be replaced for all the hard work and the unnoticed things he has provided for ASB, we believe that the best fit for our new facilitator would be Miss Christelle Canelo. ASB has been so affected by the incident yesterday that we all have decided that if Miss Jem does take over ASB, we will all resign. We do not feel that Miss Jem is a good fit for this class. When she subbed on Monday, we did not feel heard, and we also heard that she had tried to change our plans as if we, as a class, had agreed with her when we did not. As ASB, we sit here and wonder if we really do have our voices being heard. What happened to for the students, by the students? We all really hope you take this into consideration, and thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you for speaking.
Isabella Decker. Isabella, just a reminder that we-
Hello, my name is Isabella. I would like to start this off by saying that this is the third campus supervisor we've had that we feel does not listen to us or care about our opinions or well-being. They always start off that year by coming and saying that our opinions matter and we're going to be listened to, and they recognize that previous supervisors haven't met our needs, and they're going to be the change that we want to see. And then the second the school year really starts, so does the neglect and the lying and the mistreatment. We're being shown that our opinions and our needs do not matter and do not need to be met. Sorry. Every single time they mistreat us and they mistreat staff, the same staff that actually shows they care for us and our teachers. They're like family to us. Yesterday, Miss Jem subbed for ASB and it was career day. So we were in the cafeteria listening to the counselor speak. And afterwards, when we were done and had 30 minutes left in the period, Miss Jem didn't even come back for us. She left us there. And we checked ASB class and she wasn't there. She was in her office with her door closed and it said, "Do not disturb." They don't care about us. She doesn't care. And it's shown over and over again. Yesterday, a teacher that we love and care about and was a lot of our favorite teacher was essentially pressured to quit. We wouldn't have student store and we wouldn't have fall festival next Thursday or homecoming on the 4th if it wasn't for Jose. He paid for all of it out of pocket because he cares about us. Nobody else was willing to do what he did. Although he was refunded, it doesn't really matter. He was the only person willing to do that because he wanted us to have food and dances and events. He cared about the quality of our school and our experience. Jose cared about not only our academic lives, but our personal lives. He cared about our opinions and well-being. That man became family to us. He became a safe space when it was shown to us that higher ups couldn't care less about us. Again, yesterday when Miss Jem brought me and Phoebe and Aiden into her office and was explaining to us that our favorite teacher was gone, an HR person, a woman, she interrupted the conversation to ask me, as there were literal tears in my eyes, if my lip piercing was real. She interrupted the whole conversation. I was literally crying. And I think that just shows that I found it personally incredibly disrespectful and insensitive, and a great example of just how much our feelings do not matter to the higher ups of the school. I've been attending Gorman since 2nd grade, and ever since then, it's just been mistreatment and neglect. After all these years, all these people care about is power and money, essentially. We have strangers congratulating us for graduation. All the names at graduation last year, almost all of them were mispronounced because these people have no clue who we are. They have no idea what we want. They have no idea our personalities, but our teachers, they do. They care about us. They care about our ambitions. They care about who we want to be when we grow up. They care about us. And it's really disheartening when they're just mistreated after all they do for us. They care and the higher ups don't.
Our
And,
3 minutes are up.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for speaking.
Gabriella Alvarado. Gabriella, you also have 3 minutes.
Thank you so much. Hello, to formally introduce it's a little tall. Hello, to formally introduce myself, my name is Gabriella Alvarado. I was elected as 2023-2024 ASB president. Thank you. I want to start by saying the situation has definitely affected so many of us, not only us that are still here, but many of us that have already even graduated from Gorman from 2 years ago up to even 3 years ago. The 4 years that I have been here, Jose has always had open arms and such an incredible, encouraging, loving environment for his students. He treats us as his own and protects us like no one else. It's really hard to find a teacher like that because lately it feels like so many teachers just come here because they have to be here. That was never the case with Jose. There was never one small smile, every little detail he took into consideration. That was not the case. That was not the case with ASB. He often bit his tongue throughout the last 3 years that I have known him, just so he can show up to see his kids every Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, and Thursday. I've been here for 4 years of my life. And for really quick, can I get a raise of hand if you're here to support Jose? Take a look at this room. These kids didn't even have these school days. And look, we decided here to stand in front of you guys to show how much we are saddened by the loss of our teacher. As difficult as this has become, we unanimously decide that if things become and perceive the way that they continue, we will all resign from ASB, including freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors. We are absolutely done with the student body not being heard. We are tired of the constant lies and the unrecognition of what ASB actually stands for, Associate Student Body. We cannot come here and try out for these positions and get told that we are running the school when every single time we decide to run the school, we go overwritten. We understand that adults are going to have their wording into our conversations, and that is completely okay. But you guys cannot expect us to come here and be so excited for our high school experience and just not be heard. We are absolutely done with the unrecognition of the ASB, and it ends here now. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else that would like to speak? I would like to thank all of our students that showed up today and spoke. It's great to see that you guys have taken an interest and that your education matters to you. And I am sorry that you feel the way that you guys feel. So moving forward, we are going to take comments from board members concerning items that are not on the agenda. Does anybody have anything that they would like to say? Okay. Moving to the consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I motion to approve.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving to report and communication to the Board of Directors. Yeah, that's you, right, Olivia? Yes, yes, ma'am.
My turn. Thank you, board. I just want to share out I have things in my executive report. We had our WASC come in a couple weeks ago. They were very thrilled at what here AVRC, the students and the teachers and the staff, what you guys shared and what you shared with them. They were very excited about what we were doing here at Gorman. So you guys did a great job. They did give us a couple areas of focus, which they always do. One of them was our math proficiency that we need to work on. Another was our college career readiness. And I heard one of our students talk about a career fair. So we're already on the right path. And another is using data to drive professional development and decisions that are being made. So they were all areas that the WASC committee on our end sort of pointed out as well. So they were all areas that we were wanting to work on as well. So that was encouraging, and it was a team of all independent study administrators or teachers from other schools that came in and looked at our school and just to help us improve. So the WASC, that report, their visiting committee report goes to WASC committee, the WASC headquarters, and they actually are the ones that come back and they'll tell us if they give us a 6-year with a 3-year visit, or if it's a 3-year cycle. So, but we were encouraged by that. I did want to share out from the communication from last time that we did update some of our the issues, the things that were on the website. Hiring is being done. It is just a process. We want to make sure that the people that we do hire, we go through the background checks, we do the proof of employment, DOJ background, FBI background. We can't just offer someone a job and hire them. So I want to let you guys know, and everyone else that's listening, that we are actively hiring. We are actively, especially for the RC as well. We actually offered a position for full-time, so that person is coming on. So we did hear those needs and make sure that those things were taken care of. Mentioning field trips. So last year we had field trips almost every month. I am pushing field trips to second semester, school-wide field trips. So hopefully those will be up and running by then. Wanted to make sure I mentioned that. And then I just wanted to celebrate some of the things that have been going on in my board executive director. I have a picture there of our senior sunrise, actually here from AV. So these are the seniors. They came early one morning and they just celebrated, sort of started out their senior year. So they had a great time, and ASB, you guys did a great job putting that together and having that there. So hopefully other senior events coming on for the year. The Redlands Resource Center had a jazz night, and it was really neat. There's a picture in there. They took one of their rooms and they put lights up and did tables, and they had their students performing jazz music playing in the background, and they had servers. So some of the staff dressed up, in a tuxedo when they were actually, it was an ASB event. We had it approved, but they were serving coffee and things like that. So it was exciting. And then just one last thing I want to share with you. One thing that I have been able to have my hands in lots of pots at the beginning of this year, which has been very helpful and good. And one of them is our AP scores. So we always do give AP tests. We offer that to our students. We offer that to every student. Last year, we had 4 of our students, 3 of them received 5s on Japanese AP, which is like one of the highest scores. So I want to acknowledge them. One was Jocelyn Mawarki, got a 5 in Japanese. And then we had siblings Sei and Hana Very Moore got 5s on Japanese. So I just want to congratulate them. And then we also had Alicia Un, who got a 4 in world history. So it's exciting because we don't have very many students who actually take the AP, but the ones that did and score so high. So I just wanted to acknowledge them and let you guys know the good things that our students are doing. So that's all I have.
That's awesome. That sounds amazing. And congratulations to those students. They should be very proud of themselves. We are very proud of them. Next communication will be coming from Truth.
Thank you. Just a few things I just want to bring to the board's attention. The first one, we just had an audit. I think I mentioned that we'll be having a Costas audit. So we did have that, and they're still wrapping up the report, and they'll be sharing a draft report with us for us to even share with the board. And then also in about a week or 2, we'll be having our regular audit happening. And this is the audit that happens twice a year. So, and this is done by ID Bailey. So they'll be coming in to audit our year-end numbers. If you remember last board meeting, I presented the unaudited actuals. And so now they'll be coming in to audit those numbers just to validate all those numbers. And then what's been happening of significance, even from the fiscal side, we are in the process of working with a company called Questica Budget. This is a software that helps us do our budget in a more efficient way. So in the implementation stages where we meet with them and they train us on whatever it is that we need to know. So that's what's happening. And then we also are trying to transition from paper requisitions to electronic requisitions, something that we've had a lot of our department heads requesting. So we're trying to accommodate that. So today we had a meeting with MIP people, MIP is the accounting software that we use. So we started our initial meeting with them to kind of like know exactly what they need from us. So hopefully in the next month or two, we should be up and running with the electronic automated requisition. And then maybe lastly, last week we attended the conference in Las Vegas for MIP, which I had requested from the board to allow us to go. It was a good conference. It's more of them giving us the state of the software that we use, the present and the future, where we are with the software, some of the challenges and some of the feedback that they've gotten from people, and how and what they are doing with their engineers to develop the software so that it can cater for some of the concerns or suggestions that have been brought to their attention. We also had powerful speakers. One of the speakers kind of like told us is an expert in nonprofit funding. So she was talking to us about how nonprofit organization can maybe spend time changing lives instead of basically worrying about money, and giving us like little tricks of maybe what can be done to get more funding to support our mission and our vision. So I thought that was good. But it was a conference with over 450 people, and they were saying that this year it grew compared to last year. Last year it was about 300, and this year it was 450. So good conference, and gave us good tips, and also networking to meet with different people and troubleshoot as we talk to different people. So in a nutshell, that's what I just wanted the board to know what's happening on my side.
Awesome. Thank you, Truth. Looking forward to hearing about some of those nonprofit ideas. Next item is the information discussion action agenda. Review, discussion, and approval of the proposal to paint the exterior of the administration building in Redlands. And that it will be presented by Dawn Dickinson, the facilities manager.
Hello.
Hello, Dawn.
Hi, am I coming through okay? You guys are kind of hard to hear, so I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, sir, you're good to go.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, the proposal is pretty self-explanatory. The building needs to be painted. It's been a long time. We had we earmarked this dollar amount in the 23-24 budget that we set aside for this particular thing. And this is our proposal. If it's approved, they say we can have it done over the Christmas break, probably, if everything goes well. If you have any questions.
I just have one. Did you get multiple quotes before finding this one?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
This one is the lowest. It's also a contractor I've worked with before, so I'm familiar with their quality of work. The other two bids, do you want the information on the other bids?
No, I trust you.
All right, thank you. They were both more expensive, by the way.
Maybe if I could also add to Dawn's presentation. So the thing with our business office building, for many years, we've been postponing painting the building. And so Dawn has brought it to our attention that it's actually the more we postpone painting the building, it's becoming costly. So at one point, I think this was even before I came on board, it was going to cost maybe about 10,000 to paint the entire building. But because of budget constraints at that time,
Because we're bored.
we moved it. And
Excuse me, please turn off your mic.
so we moved it, and then the price keeps increasing and increasing. And so the state of the building itself is starting to be dilapidated. And I think that's why this recommendation is being brought to the board, that the board approves that we basically keep our facility decent.
Being someone that has to deal with property all the time, I can completely understand where you are coming from, Truth. And I would absolutely 100% agree with the statement of the longer we wait, the further the property is, the condition is going to worsen.
Are there any questions or concerns from board members?
Can I ask what the cost is that we're looking at to paint?
Yes, it's at the bottom of that proposal. It's 50,000. No, I'm sorry, I can't read that. Yeah, 50,982. And we had earmarked about 70.
Does the property have any wood rot?
Yeah, there is some, yes. That's included in the proposal.
Very good.
If there are no other questions, I would like to get a motion.
I motion to approve.
A second.
All in favor? Any nay, any abstains? Okay, motion passed.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Good luck. We'd love to see a picture of the new building when it's done.
I'll send you videos. I'll even smile.
Awesome. We look forward to that.
Do we get to pick the color? That's a joke.
Yeah, no, sure. Take a vote.
Okay, moving on, we're going to do review, discussion, and approval of EPA spending plan, and that's going to be presented by Truth.
Thank you. So this one is also kind of straightforward. So the state requires for the board basically to approve a spending plan for funds that we receive EPA, which stands for Education Protection Account. And so these funds that we receive are a component of the LCFF funding that we get and cannot be spent on administrative uses. So historically, we basically, so that it's easy even for reporting, because it plays a significant part in our budget and our spending. So historically, we've basically just used that amount for teacher salaries. That way we don't have to have a hard time reporting the funds to the state. So this is supposed to be approved by the governing board and posted on our website. And so what you are seeing in front of you is basically 21-22 audited numbers for EPA, the revenues that we received, and the actuals for 22-23, and then go up a little bit, Denise. Yeah, please. Again, someone to the years. Yeah, right. And then our projected 23-24, which is this current budget. So everything that you see on the left side with the different numbers like 97, 91, 80, 10, 80, 100, that's the language that we basically use in accounting to denote what the classification is. So when the monies come in, where it says education protection account revenue, they are coded under that the 8,000 series, right? But when they are spent under the certificated salaries, which is the 1,000 object codes and the 3,000s for the benefits.
I have a question. So I guess, can I get a definition, I guess, of what they mean by the administrative like expenditures, like you're not allowed to use it on that? Like what falls underneath that? Like what is the classification?
Sorry, basically administrative salaries cannot be charged to that when they say administrative uses.
Okay.
So that's why basically, let me just go up there just for a second. So this right here, these numbers here, basically for us accountants, right, that's the language that we speak. But for someone who doesn't know those numbers, you look at this, and they need to tell you the classification. So what basically it's saying is that this can be spent on certificated salaries, but it cannot be spent on classified salaries, which is where the administrators fall under. And so to make it simple, that's why we are basically using the certificated salaries and the benefits that go along, which is the import of this. Yeah. Testing, 1, 2, okay. Right, so so certificated salaries, which goes with the employee benefits. That's why you'll see that the EPA amount is just tagged onto those 2 line items and nothing in the classified. Because if we put anything on the classified, then we're basically doing what's not allowed because we cannot use that money for that.
Are all the other categories available to be used besides the classified salaries?
98% of the time, that's where you want to spend your money because it's
I think
easy
it's
for
a great
reporting.
place to spend the money.
Yeah,
Just wondering if the other areas are an option.
a small percentage, it is, yes.
Thank you.
So what we're looking at, is this for Gorman Learning Center or Gorman Learning Center, San Bernardino, Santa Clarita?
That's a good question. The way it's presented, this one is for, you'll see 2 tables. One. Yeah, I'll just keep it. Okay. So you'll see, I presented it as one, but there are 2 tables, one for each school, one for GLC and then the other one for GLC SPSC. So if you right, so that's for GLC SPSC.
And why is there such a drastic difference?
I knew someone was going to ask me that question. Well, that's based on also, I think, property taxes, right? If one area doesn't receive as much money, then that's why it will be lower. So SPSC has always kind of received a lower amount as opposed to GLC.
It's wildly lower.
Yeah, because it's factored in when they do the calculation, and this is not us kind of coming up with the numbers, right? When they do the calculation, they take into account the property algorithms or formulas, and then determine that, okay, for San Bernardino County schools, this is the factor that we're using so that we can determine the dollar amount for your school. And then for GLC, Los Angeles County, they do the same thing and then end up coming with those numbers. Yes, it is definitely lower. Some schools don't even get that dollar amount.
And can it only be used at the school that it's, I guess, funded for? Since we are one large organization, even though we're multiple areas.
No, good question again. Yes, it cannot be used for another school because each school, in as much as we have one federal tax number, we have 2 different CDS codes. Basically, CDS codes are identifying numbers for GLC and GLC SBSC. So revenue that comes in for GLC cannot be used for SBSC. So, but this dollar amount is a portion of the budget for SBSC, which is already accounted for in the budget that I presented in June. So the state just wants us to take that and bring it to the board so that it's approved separately. That way, when the auditors come in and they're looking at it, they'll be like, okay, can we see where you guys spent your EPA money?
Okay.
Because we do see that in the budget, but you guys are required to show us. And then that's why that resource code 1400 at the top is something that like, so this number here, 1400. So when the auditors come and audit us like in a week or two, what they'll ask is, can you run us a report under this 1400 code? So this 1400 code captures all the expenses for EPA. So we'll do that for SBSC and then we'll do that for GLC. And then they'll tie that to the CDE website or whatever source document they have to see that, okay, you guys got so much in EPA, but you are reporting this dollar amount, something is not adding up or what's going on. Then we explain if we've spent all the money or if we haven't spent all the money or our intentions of spending the money.
Do we spend the money
Yes.
every year?
Yes, because ideally we have to spend it and we do, because if we don't, we'll end up not getting it. So the way school financing works is if you're given the money, you are given the money for that school year. So you have to spend it in that school year.
Okay.
If they give you money and then you don't spend it, then they sit down and say, okay, we gave you 5 million, but you only spent 2 million. Why should we give you 5 million next year? We'll give you 1 million.
Okay.
But so to also further answer your question, that's why tagging it to certificated salaries is the easiest way because of accounting for that money, because all we say is that we pay the teachers because we know we have to pay the teachers the whole year. So within the first 6 months or 9 months, we've already depleted that money. And it's easy to report to the state and say that money is done, give us more money.
Okay.
It sounds very efficient. Thank you.
So if there are no questions, I'll recommend that the board approves the EPA plan.
I'll motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstains? Okay, motion passed. Yeah, we can pass it as one or
That's correct. The
Okay.
motion was for both items number 1 and 2 under B.
okay. Looks like now we'll go ahead and adjourn to closed session. Okay, and welcome back. We will reconvene to open session. It is 6:43. We have no action to report. And we are moving to the training for board members, and that presentation will be given to us by Jana Walker.
Buddy, I hope you guys can hear me okay. It's nice to see all of you. So some familiar faces and some new to me faces, but my name is Jana Walker and I'm the data and assessment analyst for the district for Gorman Learning Charter Network. I was asked tonight to give you guys kind of a beginner level view of all of the resources we have for you in the Gorman board drive. So for those of you who are already familiar with Google Suite and with navigating through a drive, it may seem very basic, but we wanted to make sure we were showing you what's in there, how to find things, and also just allow the opportunity for you guys to give feedback on other things that you might want to see added to the drive, or even identifying things that can officially be archived that are no longer necessary to keep kind of at the forefront of the drive. So for starters, Miss Denise has been gracious enough to let us preview her drive so that you can kind of see the flyover way. So you would really start by just going to Google Drive once you were signed into your Gorman email account. Once you've done that, your default view is the My Drive section there. And so anything that's been shared with you, you'll kind of have different links and different things available right there. The shared board drive is just right down from there where it says shared drives. So for Denise, you can see that she has several drives that have been shared. For you, it would be the board members drive that's been shared. So we can go ahead and click in there. And I'm going to follow along on mine because my eyes are changing. I can't see that far anymore. That's unpleasant. Okay. So once you're in that board member drive, the suggested section are all just, they typically are previously or recently updated or edited fields. So those could change. Those first three options that you see, those could change at any given time just based on the most recent activity within the document. So really, if you're ever going in here to find something, there's one of two ways you can do it. You can either search in the drive itself by using the text box up at the top, and you could search a keyword like minutes if you're looking for minutes, and then all of the files that have that word would show up for you. Or you can look down at all the file folders that are right now visible at the bottom of the screen. And those are the headers are where different files are organized by category. So you can see the board calendar, the dashboard, board minutes, board packets, board policies, board resolutions, board training, important documents. And then the only difference between that policies folder under there and the board policies, the board policies folder is actually blank right now. I think it was intended to be a space to isolate the board policies that were specific to the board. But all of those policies and any other policy that Gorman has is in that shared policies folder there. So anything you would want policy related is in that space. But if it would be helpful to extract the board specific policies, we can definitely do that and move it into the board policy folder for you. So before I keep kind of rattling on here, does anyone have any questions on any of those things for now? Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the board calendar. I'd mentioned while you guys were in closed session that some aspects of the drive remind me of who we just said it was the Winchester House. The Winchester House. Have you guys ever heard of that? Yeah, it's okay. I still want to go. It's on a bucket list thing, but there's a lot of bridges to nowhere. And what that is reflective of are different initiatives from different board members across the last 5 or 6 years. So depending on who our board is and what you want to see, this drive is updated accordingly. So there's certain things that you'll see that happened, for example, in 2019, 2020 that weren't requested again. So it's not so much a failure to update as much as it is that was no longer the focal point for the board that year. But we keep everything archived in there so you can see what boards past have requested, what's been helpful to them. And, you know, according to what you guys would like to see, we can update and change as needed. So in here, there's kind of an A and B example of that. In that board calendar, that first document, the PDF, is the fiscal board meeting dates. If you're familiar with our website, this is also posted there, but you have those two views, the actual website, you can find it here. And then if we click out of that, you'll see one of those examples of a past initiative. This was back in 2020-21 when the board had requested a specific board calendar that would just kind of help flag for the due dates on certain things that would be board related. So again, it's available for us to create something like that. It hadn't been necessarily requested in the last several years. So that is what is in there. I'd suggested to Denise that she and I kind of take note of the things that can be officially archived to just kind of clean up the drive a little bit and keep maybe the more active documents in these visible spaces and have a space for the archives, but that's there. So we can go back to the board member drive itself. So probably the most frequently updated sections of this drive are going to be the board dashboard, the board minutes, board packets. So you're emailed the board packets already. If you guys have noticed, when you open up the link to your board packet, it's either an attachment as a PDF or it might take you to the drive. Either way, this is the archives of all of the board packets that have occurred prior to. So if you're ever in a situation where you're curious when something was voted on in the past or the last time you had a conversation, you're able to quickly look through the agendas of previous board meetings. Right now, this is organized well in the drive. There's been several conversations about housing this in a different type of space. There's several different platforms that board members can use that would actually make this like more of a website interaction as opposed to a Google Drive interaction, where you could search by keyword for different agenda items and pull up any previous votes or discussion notes on it. So that in the future could be something really helpful, especially because we're dealing with years and years of records at this point. But regardless, we have it. It just might be a little bit more tedious to look for it, but it's all accessible to you in that space. Any questions on board packets? Okay, we can go back to the board member drive itself. So that's true for board packets. It's also true for board minutes, which are in a separate file folder there. It's the same idea. You've got the agendas there, but maybe not the entire packet. This would be just the summary of the meeting and a summary of the votes. So that's available there. I do want to take a little bit of time to show you the board dashboard though. So we preloaded some of these links, but we'll go ahead and click into the file that says board dashboard. This is your kind of one-stop shop for the current view of enrollment information. So if you click in there, there's two hyperlinks on this document. One is the actual board dashboard and the other is an enrollment tracker. So both of these documents are well known to our staff. We consult them often just to see fluctuations in the data regarding enrollment. But we wanted to make a view of them available to you as board members as well. So at any given time, not just board meeting time, if you were to be curious how we're doing with that, you can click on either of these links to get an updated view. The board dashboard itself is updated daily. The enrollment tracker is updated less frequently, and that tends to be based on need. So in the summer, when we're trying to make our predictions, it's almost daily. Once we're up and running, it can be spaced out sometimes even by weeks, just depending on the needs of administration. So historic information's in there as well. So let's go ahead and Denise, if you don't mind opening the board dashboard. Yep, that's the one. So this is a Data Studio report that I run daily from our student information system, and it allows you to see the geography of our students. So where our students are located. You can use the drop-down options to funnel by school, to funnel by resource center, or to funnel by grade level. The bigger and bluer the circles, the higher the concentration of students. If you can scroll down just a bit, all of those numbers on the side will update according to whichever selection it is that you make. So right now it's showing 2,527 students network wide. You see our EL population, our Title I population, and our SPED population. Again, this is for both schools. You can scroll down a bit more, please. And then down here, you can also see our resource center enrollment. So you're able to see the virtual resource center, our Antelope Valley Resource Center, Santa Clarita, and Redlands. The other cool thing about this dashboard is you're able to get historic information. So one of the drop-down menus will allow you to funnel by school year. So your default view is what's current, but you can look back over the last several years if needed, if you're interested in fluctuations and kind of getting a view of that. You'll notice at the top of the dashboard, there's three other tabs. There's an enrollment by grade, withdrawals for last school year and withdrawals for this school year. So let's look at that final tab. Good instincts there, Denise. So the student withdrawals, what we have this tab here for, this is a real-time update, so I don't have to run a report. This is live linked to our withdrawal form. You're able to monitor reasons for student withdrawals and also see the breakdown of grade levels over time. So just so you know, in the student information system, -2 stands for our TK students and 0 is for kinder. Otherwise, the numbers are directly associated with the grade level. If you want to go ahead and scroll down a bit, the bar chart that you're looking at there are the reasons for withdrawals. So I'm not sure the awareness level that all of you have in terms of school enrollment policies. So it is not uncommon to see a very high volume of no-shows. That's basically when families have completed the enrollment process, but their student never actually attends. So they may do this across multiple school sites and then get into several and then decide where they're going. So the student had never actually counted in our enrollment, but because they made it through the process, they have to be withdrawn formally. So I believe I have some drop downs on there as well that would allow you to funnel by school or by reason. That would be at the top. But the cool things with these dashboards is they're customizable. So if you ever had a question and you say, I want to compare what this September looks like compared to last September, then I could build that into the platform for you so that you can make those types of comparisons as needed. And we, because of our WASC cycle, WASC had access to this report and they had wanted to see historic withdrawals. And I think Talia, we've had a conversation about that as well. So that additional tab was added so that they could kind of see what was accurate or what was transpiring last school year in comparison to this school year. So that's why that other tab was added. It was built to be intuitive so that you could interact with it easily. But if for any reason you're ever in there clicking around and things aren't pulling up right, or you feel like you can't get to the view you want, please feel free to email and reach out and I'll be happy to help you navigate to get to what you're looking for in there. Any questions on the enrollment dashboard? Okay. So we can get out of that tab. The other one's a lot easier to access. It doesn't take as much time to load. This is our enrollment tracker. So for our administration seeing this, they've seen it quite a bit, probably so much so that they don't enjoy the colors anymore, but we have several rows hidden. If you unhide those rows, you'll see the tracking we did starting back in March through to, I think our enrollment actually opened, I think in April. So it started in April. And every time we had a different way of counting our numbers, we would start a different type of table. And this is how we, like, for example, our enrollment now is counted at 100%. Whereas when we were making our predictions, we were counting it at a lower percentage, assuming that we would see withdrawals. But now that we're this far into the school year, we calculate our enrollment at 100%. To avoid any confusion, this is not formally reported numbers. This is a tool. So this is the way that we kind of keep track of how on target we are for meeting our projections. Nothing official happens with this. It's meant to just be a tool for our fiscal team and our administrative team to make informed decisions based on current fluctuations. So we have our enrollment, our pre-enrollment numbers included there for each school, awaiting data or awaiting import and awaiting data. This is just part of that enrollment cycle. So families have completed most of their enrollment, but it still needs to be reviewed, or there's just small details missing. So it's not officially counted as part of our records. So we like to keep a track on how many students are in that space. And then finally, Ontraport is the system we use that when families are clicking on that Enroll Now link, they're going through a platform called Ontraport, and it's where we house our waiting list. So you can see right now that both schools have a substantive waiting list, which is great news. If we were able to count all of those, we would be in beautiful spot. The green numbers at the bottom means that's over projection. The reality is that we are still needing to hire additional PLTs, or we have some that are out for just temporarily, but that does affect our ability to bring in all the students that want to come in, because we have to make sure that we have the teachers there to roster those students. So we do still have a wait list, but numbers wise, we're in good shape, but we need all the pieces to kind of click in order to see those materialize as actual enrollment. Any questions on that tracker? Okay, so we can actually navigate back to the actual drive. Those are kind of the heavy hitters of what's available to you guys in the board drive. There are additional places that you have some board training links. The PowerPoint that most of you were onboarded with should be in that space. So if you ever want to go back through, when we originally wrote that, we included a ton of hyperlinks to California Department of Education, for example, that links directly to different laws and different things that are applicable to charter schools, so that if you're new to this realm and you want to research more, we tried to give you a jump start on different resources in there. There's many, so it's not exhaustive by any means, but it at least is intended to give you a start on kind of orienting. So all of those things in there are for you. I'm sure you've already been trained on them, but again, just for reference. Brown Act training is in there. I see two different. Brown Act training is one that's an actual MP4, which means that audio is included, a video, and the other is just the PowerPoint itself that probably has hyperlinks for you to get additional information. The strategic priorities, you can see that's another one of our Winchester moments. It fulfilled a purpose in 21-22, and since then has not needed to be readdressed, but left in there so you guys can kind of see some of the things that have occurred in board member terms past. All right, so back to the actual drive. The last thing we already did talk about were those policies, but just to kind of show you how they're organized in there, we can click. I see that important documents as well, but for the policies, what you're looking at is they're organized by thousands. So someone from HR might better be able to help you know what each of those numbers actually mean. We could put additional headers in there if one's for like policies related to students or policies related to classified or whatever else. We can do that if it makes it easier. But right now they're just organized based on how HR can best find what they need. Those numbers mean something distinct for them. And you have access to be able to see all of it. It wasn't that long ago. I don't believe anybody on our current board except for Dory was part of the revamping process. But just a few years ago, the board had directed that we update many policies, even just down to getting the formatting consistent. So that is reflective of a board initiative, and those policies are available for you to see in there. Any questions on the policies? Okay, so back to those Gorman basics. The last place, this actually opened a bigger door than I expected. So we accidentally navigated to Gorman basics. So she's going to go back to the board member drive. If you go to important documents, this is, there's many more files that pop up in here that you can see. So I believe several years ago, board members had requested a list of the acronyms and what they stand for. Very helpful. That could probably be a website tab in and of itself. So if you've been around Gorman or any educational system long enough, you'll hear LCAP, WASC, RDs, PLTs, this, that, there's a ton. So we did our best to define all of the acronyms for you so that you would just have a flyover view of what those things are, what is meant when they said it. The articles of incorporation are there. So those are very important. If you haven't already read them as board members, I strongly encourage you to do that. Board election information is in there. So again, board elections have changed over the years. Now the board has gone more towards board appointment. There was a point in time when members were actually elected by a majority vote. So you have kind of evidences of the different ways that things have been done in that space. More board training, bylaws are in there, another important space for board members to review. There's two separate folders, one for GLC and one for SBSC. I'd imagine that official LCAP documents are in there. They're also available on the website, but again, the heart of this drive was to put it all in one space so that you could navigate within one space and try to find what you needed. That org chart, I imagine, that was an initiative from many years ago. So what is in there is undoubtedly archaic at this point. But again, anything, if the board wants to appoint kind of a person to review and decide what's relevant and what can be archived, we're happy to make any changes you want, but staff is hesitant to change too much in there because it's all come about as a type of board response to a board directive. So everything's kind of been left in there for you. So that is your drive. Lots of information, lots of things to review. Any questions for any of us that we can answer regarding? Okay, great. The only other thing that I was specifically asked to address was how to create a signature in your Gorman email so that when you're interacting with families, you've kind of got that preset tagline. So Denise we intentionally put you in her chat view. So when you open your Gorman email, it looks similar to this at the top. Your menu options at the top are the same. So you would go to settings there. And then once you're in the settings tab, you go to see all settings. And as you scroll way down, you're going to see an open text box that has a lot of different options. And this is where you can customize your signature. So you can see for Denise, she put in our logo. One of the things available to you in the drive are our current branding items for marketing. So the Gorman logo's in there, a shortened one, the actual icon. I believe you have access to all of that. If not, that's something we could definitely provide for you to put in your. Okay, so that would be an example of something that if it would be helpful for you to put an official Gorman logo in there, it's an easy email on our side. We would just need to make that happen for you. But you just put your name, your title. So if you're a treasurer or a secretary, you could put GLCN board treasurer. If you're not an official officer and it's simply a board member, then you would put GLCN board member there. And any other things that you'd want included. And then once you hit save, that will auto populate at the bottom of all your emails so that when you're sending any correspondence, it'll look a bit more official in terms of Gorman. Any questions on email signatures? Okay. Andrea, did I address all that you wanted?
I believe so. If nobody has any questions, I think we have everything.
Okay.
I have a comment.
Go ahead.
I just think that you're a wonderful presenter.
Oh, thank you.
I really
That's very
do.
kind. Thank you for saying that. All right. Well, with that lovely compliment, I will leave you to the rest of this board meeting. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Jana. I appreciate you. Okay, so the next item is the review, discussion, and approval of lease renewal. I have nothing to present on that. So if there are items for the next meeting, we can discuss that now. I think that for the next meeting, we need to discuss strategic planning committee. Who's on the strategic planning committee, and secretary position needs to be filled for next. We need to nominate and figure that out. So that needs to go on the agenda. I don't know if we have, Truth, do you have anything for us for next?
No, not yet, but possibly, but not yet.
The audit?
No, not the audit will come most probably December or January.
Okay.
Yeah.
Olivia? Okay. Then I guess the next meeting will take place here at AVRC in November. November 16th. November 16th at 4. Here at the AV Resource Center. I would like to take this little bit of time though, really quick before we exit out here to thank everybody who worked so hard for this meeting today. I know there was a lot of back and forth, a lot of paperwork, things like that. And also thank the students that came out today. I don't know if they're going to see this. I know they had to go, but we appreciate you guys speaking. And yeah, I guess that's it. Meeting adjourned at 7:07.